Hello, world, and welcome to another voice note from France, a podcast where I look beyond the Instagram highlight reel to find out what it's really like to start a new life in another country. Today's voice note will pick up where we left off with Schon, a Trinidadian caviste who started his life in France teaching English just like I did. We continued talking about everything under the sun, and I really hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I can share my controversial thoughts on mic.
Oh my god.
So, people, Sean is about to judge me, and you may be able to hear the nasty look he's about to give me. So the truth is, I hate the Louvre, Sean.
Oh my god. Jeez.
I hate the Louvre. There, I said it. I can't stand it.
My silence is judgment.
But it's hear me out. Anybody here who's listening and they've never been to the Louvre, listen. It is full of people all the damn time.
True.
All right? It's full of people, and maybe this is the fact that I failed geography in school. Fine, there, I said it. I suck geographically. I never know where I am at all times. It's really I'm directionally challenged. I got it from my mom because I saw her drive and it was worse. So this is me.
So
my mom.
who's listening to this?
Me putting my mom on blast. But it's true and she knows it. But it's a lot. It's confusing. And then whenever I try to find something, I'm looking at this map and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing?
Okay. Hear me out.
Okay.
First of all, people are obstacles in this context. Who cares? They're just like walls. Just walk around them. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, honestly, people who use maps to go to the Louvre don't understand the Louvre.
Yes.
Lose yourself. I'm not joking. Lose yourself. Forget the map. Forget having a preconceived notion. Forget having this idea that I want to do this or I want to do that. Lose yourself in the history of the Louvre. And walk around, and one day, and at some point in time you get lost, but at every entrance and every exit, there's someone to help you. To tell you, okay, no, it's this way or that way, you know? Forget about the map. Just wander.
Okay. Well, now that you're saying this, I will say that every time I've gone to the Louvre, I've gone with a time limit, and I think that has been my mistake in every museum that I've been to in France. I always think I'm going to get through the museum in 3 hours, and every damn time I'm wrong. So
you can't even get through the Louvre if you've gone to the Louvre every single day for a week, well, for 5 days in the week, for 8 hours. You can't finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why, just lose yourself. Lose yourself in the music, the moment, you know.
Stop singing, you're going to get me copyrighted, damn it! This is another reason why my podcast going to get canceled. Damn.
Eminem doesn't care about copyright.
Okay, true. Fair enough. Okay, so only Eminem music is welcome on this podcast from now on.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, just give yourself, this is going to be very poetic and philosophical. Allow yourself the freedom to be lost.
Okay. So I need to try again with Louvre.
Yeah, just go, but don't try when you're there.
Okay.
Go and just let it be.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it and then come back to me and ask me how it went.
And this is my thing, because people have forgotten what it means to be nomads. But remember, for most of human history, we've been nomads.
Yeah.
It's only in the last 5,000-6,000 years that we haven't been nomads, and we've been trying to not be nomads. But nomads still exist. And I'm not asking you to go backpacking in the Alps, especially because you're a girl. You know, don't do that, please.
Thank you.
I have 6 sisters, by the way. So yeah.
Yeah, trust me. If you're friends with Sean and you're a girl, like a lot of his advice is like, don't you dare.
Yeah, don't you dare. Because I don't have to kill people. Oh, sorry. Oops. I just have to become a bad guy afterwards.
Especially since we've established that you can't get away with a crime. Everybody knows you.
Right.
Even like you have tattoos on your hands, and I'm like, my guy, the second anybody see your hands, that's it. It's over for you.
God, I know. I can't even do OnlyFans. Oh my god.
Oh no! And just like that, the stream of income is gone. in case, I don't know what I'm going to title this episode, but in case I ever thought about like, hey, jobs in France,
Yeah.
OnlyFans was clearly on the list.
Yeah.
Or not anymore.
Let me explain better, guys. All my tattoos I designed myself, so no one else has those tattoos. I'm not joking. I check everywhere just to make sure no one else has them, and I design my tattoos, and they're all perfectly super meaningful. So I know you don't have to have meaningful tattoos, so I'm not saying that people who just got whatever as a tattoo, like, I'm not judging you. It's just that for me, I prefer to have tattoos that represent uh, all of whom all of who I am in a certain, but from a certain standpoint. So it's not that I want to represent from each tattoo a certain part of me. No, I want to represent all of me in one tattoo, but from a different perspective every single time.
Huh, okay. That's pretty interesting.
So
I actually didn't
example,
know you designed them.
yeah, so this, so I was pointing to my hand here. I got a whole tattoo from a Korean, with one single needle on my hand, and I can tell you guys that when it comes to knuckles and one single needle,
Doesn't that shit hurt?
I can't even explain to you how much it hurts.
Okay. Got it.
So I have lots of tattoos on my hands, but they're all carefully designed. Some of them have to be retouched at this point, but they all basically come back to the same thing. So this one on my hand here is about my connection with nature and my love of nature. And this one here is about the connection of the universe and my love of the universe. Nature being part of the universe.
Yeah.
It's the very same. This one is about my nature as part of nature.
Okay.
This one is about nature pouring its energy into me.
All right. See, I never knew that. Okay.
Yeah, and this one
I don't
is...
think I've ever seen that one. So
No, this one is new.
Okay.
And this one also hurt because it was 9 needles but in a straight line. So it's basically like a knife cutting through your sternum.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Very much fun, yeah. But it's also about the magic of nature. It's all about nature and the cosmos, always. And
Okay.
me being nature and the cosmos and us feeding ourselves into each other. And
Wow. Sean, I'm learning so much more about you just from this conversation alone, and
I
it's
know, look at this
fascinating.
podcast. Crazy.
Exactly. See, this is fun. I don't know. I want to believe that everyone who's come on this podcast, they're at least having a good time. I hope so.
I am.
Perfect. I don't know. Come back. Do we want Sean to come back for another episode? I think
my
we
God.
should.
It'd probably be so long. Maybe we should do like a monthly Schon episode.
Listen, you and my cousin basically scanned me out of multiple episodes, and I'm like, this episode ain't even done yet. How did you get 2 more episodes out of me?
Oh my God.
Fucking hell, man.
But to be fair, one weekend in my life is like an entire year for some people. I do like 100 million things in one weekend. It's crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know how I do it, but I just do it.
We'll see if I ever get a Patreon. Maybe that's going to be something on the Patreon, like just like a weekend in Sean's life. I don't know. Go pay for it.
Oh my God, why not? To be fair,
Exactly. Got to make
it
it
Sean's life. You'd probably go mad just like trying to
watching.
be there.
I mean, I told you at the start that I wanted to be a fly on the wall of your life, and maybe at that point I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. This is terrible.
I don't think you do. No, it's worse. I remember once there was someone who said, "I would love to be inside your head for a day," and I'm like,
no.
No, you don't.
Listen, there's some moments where even like I say things that I'm like, Daniel, too far. That was too damn much. You got too deep.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh my God. I mean, eventually we'll come back to whatever was the point of this podcast, the topic of it.
What was it again? Oh, wine. Me being a caviste. We haven't even spoken about my concours, which is funny.
Which is the part that I want to talk about because people, listen to me. When I say that like Sean has come to France and he's thrived, okay? Sean, it would have been a few weeks ago, a few days ago. When did you come back?
I came back on Tuesday.
A few days ago. So Sean participated in what I think is an amazing competition. So it's
called the Meilleur Caviste de France.
Yes.
So it's a concours, it's a competition, the best caviste of France. It's kind of like for the sommelier, but for the caviste. And I've only been a caviste. I've only been in the wine industry for 2 years. So I'm the first person who has only been in the wine industry for 2 years, who's been in the competition, qualified for the competition, I made it to second. How do you say demi-final?
Semifinals.
Semifinals. God, second final.
I would have said demifinals too, but yeah,
Semifinal.
semifinals.
Semifinals. Also, the only person who's not French who made it to the semifinals.
You were the only non-French person?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, okay.
Oh, you should know, like in everything we do in wine, basically I'm almost the only non-French person in France who has my post.
Yeah.
Um,
That's insane, okay.
so
When is Trinidad gonna give you your national honor? I feel like this should be a thing.
I know, right? Because everyone knows I'm from Trinidad. Like I have been the best ambassador of Trinidad for the longest while, which, by the way, was difficult for me. I'm just going to share a bit about my journey. When I came to France, I hated Trinidad. I was like, I want to get rid of that place. I want to get away from that place. I want
Yeah.
to move. And it took me a while, but you know how you say you can. I know that this is good. This is very controversial to say. You can take the person out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of the person.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You can take the Trini out of Trinidad, but you can't take the Trinidad out of the person.
Yeah.
And I think I've been an amazing ambassador because everyone like they love talking to me. They like understanding me or trying to anyway. Even I don't understand me. What the hell?
Listen, I've known John for a while, and I'm sitting here and I'm just like, who is this man sometimes? So yeah.
And it's like they all ask like where are you from, explain blah 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 blah, and we get into it, and I am perhaps the most well-known Trinidadian apart from Atubulden, Heasley Crawford, Kishon Walcott.
I love how you named it. Like I'm the most known, except for like da 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 da.
Except for all of the athletes, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Because Trinidad in France is only known for that. And by the way, guys, I don't know how many Trinidadians are listening to this, but Calypso Rose, who has won many awards in Trinidad, has won maybe even more awards in France for Calypso, the queen of Calypso, Calypso Rose.
Really?
And she's done many tours in France. She's well regarded, well respected.
I'm sorry, Calypso's big in France?
Yeah.
This is fucking insane. I did not know that.
Yeah. And in Paris, we actually have Calypso Association, an association for Calypso. I know, I know.
Okay, now I gotta go, it's interesting because I don't know, maybe I'll start
We should go together.
We should.
Yeah.
I might start to like Calypso more then because here's my experience with Calypso. So anybody who doesn't know, my mom is from Guyana, so my mom likes Mighty Sparrow.
Mm.
I'm not a huge fan of Mighty
I don't
Sparrow.
like Sparrow, but I appreciate his lyrics. But
Yes.
I don't like his music.
I personally find him very annoying, but maybe that's because
That's strong.
coming to my. Let me share some of my trauma then, because
Okay.
one time my mom had gone back to Guyana. I don't remember why. I don't remember if maybe somebody had died or she had just gone to visit. I don't remember why she had gone, but she comes back with this Mighty Sparrow CD, and now she's blasting it every afternoon as she drive me home from school, which at this point was maybe like a 45-minute to an hour-long drive.
I didn't even know that Guyanese listen to Mike Sparrow. Because Mike Sparrow's from Trinidad, guys, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
But like they love
Is it?
Calypso
Okay.
there, so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
basically the culture is relatively. I mean, I've never. Okay, I have been to Trinidad in the airport, so I've been to Piarca Airport, but for the most part, yeah, I know. He's rolling his eyes at me. I had to at least share that, but I don't know anything about like being in Trinidad. But from what I can tell, I think the culture is relatively similar, more similar than like Jamaica.
Perhaps, but no, not really. That's
Okay.
why Trinidad is considered the New York of the Caribbean. Our culture
Really?
is, yeah, no, it's crazy. It's
Does that make Jamaica the California of the Caribbean?
Actually, I would probably say yeah.
Hell yeah! Fuck yeah!
Yeah, yeah. Also the Colorado, because you know weed. But anyway,
If y'all don't get that joke, I'm not explaining it.
Colorado was the first state to legalize to legalize things.
To legalize things that we won't get into.
The devil's lettuce.
Which I love whenever like French people ask me like, oh, but you're Jamaican, you should be high all the time. And I said, you would be surprised at how much people don't smoke weed in Jamaica.
And you know what you should say? Oh, but you're French. You should be a professional in wine.
There you go.
See what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's it. Like when you're not from a place, you really have these notions, and even I didn't have a lot about them. I didn't have a lot of them, sorry. But I still had some, and even though I was advanced for a Trinidadian person in France, I You still have so much to learn all the time, all the time, all the time. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, all right, you said something that was really interesting and I wanted to talk about more
Okay.
because you basically said like you hated Trinidad when you first got here and you were
Oh
like, I
God,
want to
yeah,
completely divorce myself from that identity.
yeah.
But it seems like since you got here, you're just like holding up the Trinidadian banner, like you're carrying the country on your back at the moment.
I mean,
Besides all of the Calypsonians who have come here and thrived,
yeah.
apparently.
I think Trinidad for me was like a parent that I wanted to escape from.
Hmm.
But that you still love. Like you still love your parents, no matter what you do. You can't
Yeah.
unlove your parents.
Yeah.
No matter what your parents do, no matter how horrible they are, you can't unlove them. And Trinidad was just a place that stifled me. Ever since I was young as well, people always knew this about me. They were like, "You need to go away. You need to do something else. Trinidad is too small for you."
Yeah.
And it's not them who said it that really got to me. It was that I just couldn't breathe anymore. Sometimes I just really couldn't breathe. I sometimes I thought that I would prefer just dying
Yeah.
than to be stifled.
Yeah.
Because at least in death, I could be free. I don't know if that makes sense to people. I
Hmm.
know lots of people have hang-ups about death, but I don't.
Yeah.
And I just, one day I was like, I just really need to leave.
Yeah.
I just really need to leave. And so I left. And I think for the first 2 years, I was so stifled by it. Still, like I had that trauma that I just hated it for the first 2 years. And it was someone that I worked with, a teacher, and she said, "Why do you keep hating on Trinidad?"
So like this was something you
She
were
realized.
realized.
Oh no, like I
You
was.
just going, I hate Trinidad. This place
No,
sucks.
I
I'll
mean,
kill
I
you.
didn't say that I hate Trinidad, but
Yeah.
I never spoke positively about it,
Okay. Okay.
except for my family.
All right.
And she picked up on it, and we spoke about it. We spoke about it. And funny enough, my first, you know how children have formative years?
Yeah.
When you move to a different country, you have formative years again.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think that's that's something we should also get into because
Yeah,
trust me,
you have formative years again. You have to
we
your
learn everything.
environment, your everything is different.
Yeah. And then add that on top of the fact of a language barrier. You quite
Yeah,
literally feel like a toddler.
you are a toddler. You have to relearn everything. And so, to anyone listening who has ever gone to another country or who wants to, I want to tell you all just the thought of doing that, you're brave. And if you have done it, you're brave. And congratulations on having done something like that.
And if you haven't done it, it doesn't make you less of because it's hard
No,
and it's scary.
but one day, if you've thought about it, I think one day you're going to make the decision and you're going to do it anyway. Um, and while I don't necessarily applaud globalization, there are benefits to globalization.
Okay.
And this is one of them. The idea that anyone from anywhere can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's that easy.
Yeah.
I'm oversimplifying.
Yeah. But in theory, that really is what it is. Because,
Yeah,
I mean, there really was no, quote, barrier to, like, me just getting up and saying, I'm going to go and move to France.
yeah,
Or my cousins are like, I'm going to leave Guyana and just go and move to England just
exactly,
because.
exactly. I mean, to be fair, Guyana to England is easier than Jamaica to France because of
Yes.
history,
Yes.
history and politics.
Listen, anybody
But
from Jamaica who ends up in France, I'm kind of like, okay, did you get lost? But I mean,
yeah,
same. And there are Jamaicans in like the
exactly.
Netherlands and Greece and stuff. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, did y'all get lost? So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
So, a question: at what point did you start to become? Well, I don't know what your feelings towards Trinidad are. At what point
Oh,
did you
I love
change?
Trinidad.
Okay.
I've come to the point where I say I love France, but I don't like French people. I love Trinidad, but I don't like Chinese.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is I know that what I'm saying is very global, but it's like it's not because I don't say 75% of French people that I don't mean 75% French people. You make shortcuts when you speak a language.
Yeah.
Um, I um what I don't appreciate about a lot of Trini people is the same thing that I don't appreciate about a lot of French people. You can do 10 million things and you can move outside of your country and you can do whatever you want. But it's the lack of willingness to grow,
Mm-hmm.
the lack of willingness to be expansive, to comprehend, to apprehend, to For example, there's so many Trini people. So Trinidad and Tobago is 5,128 square kilometers, I think. Exactly about that.
Yeah, it's half a
Exactly
third of
about that,
Jamaica.
I say. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember it's like roughly half the
Well,
size
I
of
know
Jamaica.
exactly what it is.
People have asked me, but here's the thing: people are gonna ask you, "Oh, how big is your country?" And then you kind of just learn the number because I think
Jamaica's
Jamaica's
like 12,000 now.
no, Jamaica's 10,900
Oh,
something. So it's a little,
I thought for some reason.
it's a little less than 11,
Okay.
11,000.
It does look big on the map.
There you go then. Well, Jamaica is the largest English-speaking island in the Caribbean. That's the thing that we learned in school. So here we are.
Trinidad and Tobago is the most powerful English-speaking island in the Caribbean.
But Jamaica has all of the vibes, and y'all got all the oil.
Tell that to your mom who listens to Mighty Sparrow.
She moved to the wrong country, damn it.
No, but so for those of you who don't know, the Treaty of Chaguaramas was founded in Trinidad because Trinidad still remains the most powerful of the big four. So the big four being Barbados, Trinidad, Guyana, and Jamaica, which are all speaking, to be fair. And no, so technically Guyana is English speaking, but I always like to say that Guyana is it's like the stepbrother that we accepted.
On what basis? Because they're not technically an island, or because of their
Because it's not technically Caribbean.
But
politically, yes.
We have to, but okay, I don't want to get into that because
do you know the idea of which Caribbean are we? Like, is it political? Is it geographical?
Yeah, that's the thing, which is why I don't want it, because I'm like, that's the whole other, and that's the thing that I later on in life, not really later, but a part of something that I want to integrate into of just like, in order to understand what the Caribbean is, there's too many definitions, because are you going to look at it from the place of like geographically that definition you get in school of like, oh, is it washed by the Caribbean?
If it's geographical, all of Central America is Caribbean.
Yes.
Together with Venezuela.
Yeah, and then you'd kick out Bahamas, you kick out Guyana, you'd kick out Suriname, you kick out Barbados, like all those countries, versus like who feels the most Caribbean. Because if you go to Central America, a lot of those people don't necessarily consider themselves to be Caribbean.
The only Caribbean nations that are part of the mainland continent are the English-speaking ones, Belize and Guyana.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a political thing. It's not about. It's not really about the ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, the Caribbean Sea, sorry. Yeah, but I mean, I do like the idea that the Caribbean should just remain islands, in the sense that if we take that as the definition, there's only one exception: Trinidad and Tobago. And maybe it's because I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, okay, why is that the exception? Tell me more.
Why is it the exception? So, first of all, if you follow the archipelago, Trinidad and Tobago doesn't follow the archipelago. It's like there. It's
but that's the same with Barbados.
It's the same with Barbados, but also, it's the only island that is not formed by either volcanic action or coral polyps.
Okay. How is it formed? Tell me more.
Trinidad and Tobago was part of the Amazon a long time ago.
It broke off.
It broke off.
That's pretty interesting. I feel like everybody's telling me something interesting about a new island because, for example, a few days ago, literally, somebody was telling me, I have a friend, backstory, she's my oldest friend. I've known her since we were 6 years old. She's Sri Lankan. And she basically lived until about between ages like about 4 or 5 until about 12 in Jamaica. That's how I met her. And then she spent like the rest of her teenage years until going to university, basically until she moved back to Sri Lanka. Different story. In the Bahamas. So she's essentially Caribbean to me.
Yeah, of course.
To me, I'm like, that's a Caribbean person. Like, yeah, she was born in Sri Lanka, but I'm like, that's a Caribbean person. And she was telling me about how she learned in school that like Bahamas isn't a part of like Pangea. Essentially, it doesn't fit into Pangea because it wasn't formed from like, oh, it broke off of something. It was formed from like when the plates open and just exactly.
Coral polyps as well.
And I'm sitting here and I'm learning this and I'm like, what?
By the way, I want to say something interesting about Bahamas. I think this is what I understand. Maybe someone who knows better can correct me. Is that yes, it started off with magma that floated to the surface, if you will. So volcanic action. Not with volcanoes, but same principle. And then coral polyps attach themselves. And that's how Bahamas has these white sand beaches. In fact, any white sand beach is coral polyp.
Okay.
And I think I need to correct something I said earlier. I said that Trinidad was the only one that broke off of mainland Amazon. I think Jamaica and Cuba are also mainland, and Hispaniola are also mainland North America. What I meant by being an exception is that it's the only one that's directly connected to the southern continent.
Ah, okay.
But also, it was the first island of the Caribbean that was inhabited by Amerindians a very long time ago. So they didn't go to Cuba first. No, they came to Trinidad first.
Okay.
And they actually went up so they went down
And
then
then went up.
And so the original name for Trinidad is Kairi, which means land of the hummingbird.
I do that because of some other research I did, yeah.
Right. And so even though Cuba has more hummingbirds, Trinidad has more species of hummingbirds. And in our old legends, Kairi is very well known because of the fact. So we have a pitch lake. For those of you who don't know, pitch lakes actually do exist. In France, for example, they pave their roads with manufactured industrial pitch.
Yeah, and I was about to say y'all have like as if like the La Brea tar pits. You've ever heard of it?
Exactly.
Which is a scary thought.
It's the same thing.
It's a scary thought, but yeah.
It's the same thing. And so the largest pitch lake in the world is found in Trinidad. The second largest is in California, but technically the one in California is 3 different lakes together. But
is that La Brea?
In California it's called La Brea, and in Trinidad it's also called La Brea.
Okay, so nobody. Well, I mean, La Brea is just tar in Spanish, isn't it? So I mean, they just like let's not get creative.
Yeah, let's
call it La Brea.
And so the idea here is that the Amerindians, they have a legend. They said that the hummingbird god was the one who was in charge of prosperity and everything, and that when you die, you become a hummingbird. Your soul becomes a hummingbird. And there was someone who, he broke the custom, he did something the most taboo possible. He killed a hummingbird. And so the god swallowed everything up and everything became pitch and tar.
I love Amerindian tales sometimes. They are the greatest.
We have so many in Trinidad as well.
Here's the thing. One of my favorite things is that I have a long time ago, like over a decade ago, my aunt, the first time I met her, she came to Ghana and stayed with us, and she got me like this calendar that I think her bank had given her, and she gave it to me because it had like different stories, like Amerindian tales and stuff, and I still have it, and I want to like find a way to like bind it and laminate it and stuff because it's the greatest thing ever. Because I just love reading some of these tales that I'm like, this is amazing. Honestly, to me, being Caribbean is one of the greatest things you could be.
I think it gives you an appreciation of mixity. It gives you an appreciation of small things. It gives you an appreciation of... It's funny because in the Caribbean you have, like, there's this rivalry, like, Barbados and Trinidad fought over flying fish for, like, decades.
Yeah.
Jamaica and Trinidad fight because...
Vibes.
Yeah, not vibes.
I don't even understand what we're fighting over anymore.
No, what we're fighting over is that every time a white person, Y-T, white person, talks about the Caribbean, they think about Jamaica, they don't think about the rest of the Caribbean.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the problem is. There's no other problem.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, because every time you say, like, oh, I'm from Trinidad, what part of Jamaica is that? And it's like...
Yeah, exactly.
Bruh.
So white people think about Cuba, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, and Bahamas.
Yeah.
Because Bahamas, let's be honest, it's just an expansion of Florida.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're into money laundering, Cayman Islands. If you're into that kind of stuff.
And Turks and Caicos.
And Turks and Caicos, there you go.
Caicos as well.
I completely forgot about them. I'm so sorry, Turks and Caicos.
We always forget about them because they're technically not independent yet.
True. No, but we still remember places like Anguilla and Montserrat. So I mean...
Oh my god, I haven't heard those words in years.
Would you like to know the population of Montserrat's like 4,000 people or something? It's tiny.
Literally, my town in France has more than 4,000.
Exactly. It is my... I only know because I had to do it for my my memoir, and I did this research, and I said, wait a minute, how big is Montserrat? And I'm like, shit, it's like 4,000 people. I'm like, I know 4,000 people. Like, what?
I hope I don't know 4,000 people.
If
I know 4,000 people, I forgot them all.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
You've at least met 4,000 people.
In my head, I know 10 people.
Yeah, exactly.
But everyone knows me. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
everyone knows me.
How unfortunate.
Everyone remembers me. And I hate it. But
unfortunate.
That's what you get when you're a star. You know.
This is what happens. You can't commit a crime, and you have all these unique tattoos, and you'll just get caught. Never leave your fingerprints anywhere.
And I think what's worse is that my vibe is very unique.
That's true.
And everyone accroché, everyone sticks to, they become attached to my vibe.
Yeah.
And I think it's my vibe that's really the worst part because I can't escape it.
I mean, Maya Angelou said it best. You know, you don't remember what people say, but you remember how they made you feel. You make people feel a certain way that they remember. There you go.
You make me feel like...
Stop!
I've been locked out of heaven.
Bruno, don't come for me. Bruno, please don't come for me, please. We don't even make any money over here, please.
He won't. I sang 3 lines, and it's like a cover.
Perfect.
Legally, I think we'd still win.
Okay.
Especially because I don't sound that good.
If you sounded good, it'd be different. It's like crap.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, Bruno Mars is coming. But I don't think Bruno Mars cares either. I'm not going to sing people who actually do care.
Like Beyonce. Never seen Beyonce on this podcast. Like Beyonce, she might actually come for you.
No, I'm not sure that's true. I don't think Beyonce cares. I think her legal team cares.
Yeah, okay, fine. Or like Taylor Swift's legal team care a lot.
Who's Taylor Swift? Ha 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 ha! Come for me now, legal team.
And just like that, all the Swifties have come off the podcast.
I'm joking. Everyone knows who Taylor Swift is. By the way, her new album, I was actually impressed. It showed a move away from pop and a kind of maturity, which I think interesting because Miley Cyrus, not to insult Taylor Swift, because I mean, sorry, but Taylor Swift does have the largest following that exists.
Yeah.
But a personal maturity that Miley Cyrus showed a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying that Taylor Swift is bad. There is so much marketing. Let's be honest. Being a star is a commercial business. It's
exactly.
Commercial business is a pleonasm. How do you say pleonasm in English? Redundant. Yeah. But I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like, there is the business, and if you're raking in that and you have that and you're as much as a superstar as Taylor Swift, you bank on that.
Yeah,
bank,
exactly.
Repetitive capital.
Yeah, you just keep knocking on the door. You get everything.
Yeah, you bank on that. But in the new album, I saw a real personal element. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard one of the songs, I'm not going to mention all those things because I don't want to be sued. Or I don't want you to be sued.
Thank you.
I was actually impressed. And I mean, at the same time, to be fair, I think Miley Cyrus, she had a lot of personal growth quick thanks to Polly Darton.
Okay, yeah. Dolly Parton.
I said it do you know who Polly Darton is? Oh my god. Okay.
What in the...
Do you know Sesame Street? Muppets.
I know Sesame Street. I know the Muppets.
Okay, so Dolly Parton was Polly Darton on the Muppets.
Okay. All right then.
Anyway, you're not old enough.
No, unfortunately. But let's pretend like, no, Sean is so young. He's like 20 years old. Man, let's go with that.
I sound young, but I sound also like ancient, to be fair. I have to joke that I'm immortal.
I mean, I think, who knows? You never know. You might be out here longer than me, and then I'll be like, oh, look at that.
I think what I've learned in, so I'm 33 years old. I think what I've learned at 33 years old is more than most people learn in 70 years. So I think, and this is not just me saying it, I've heard it a lot as well. My capacity to, I'm not a sponge because I don't just take in everything, I filter. But my capacity to be discerning with everything that I do and still keep this young character is, first of all, sometimes it's challenging if I think about it, but if I don't think about it, it just works. I don't know if that makes sense. What do you think?
I think that with you, and like, at least from like what I've seen from you, you've at least found a way to like manage it all, because I think that
it's still a struggle, by the way.
Yeah, but well, think of it this way. You handle the struggle, at least for me, better than I think I would have. For me, at least, I think that I'm somebody who's a lot more in my head and a lot more anxious about a lot of things. And I feel like if I looked at the world in the way that you did, I think that I would have just been very overwhelmed by everything, and I'd be like, I can't move, which is sometimes how I feel anyways.
So the first thing I'm going to say to you is, don't compare yourself to me. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I like to say this to people who overthink, and people who are anxious are generally people who overthink.
Yes.
Is that you can think a lot, but overthinking is not about thinking a lot. Overthinking is thinking about the same thing in too many different ways. There are horses behind us. Horses! Look, horses!
They're horses! And now people get to hear their horses. They didn't hear the clumping that we did, but...
Sorry, guys, but I heard something like 10 seconds before, and I was like, no, I'm hallucinating. And then I saw them. Horses.
Every now and then there are horses on the streets of Paris. Don't ask why. One time
we're not in Paris, but this is a town that's considered kind of like a tiny Paris.
Yeah. Well, but still, even there were horses where I used to work during my internship. There actually were horses, like it was around Olympics and they were walking and stuff. And it was like, unfortunately, that also meant a lot of horse shit, but
yeah.
Oh,
that happens here too.
Yeah, exactly. So still, it's a nice novelty whenever you see it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What were we saying?
We were talking about overthinking.
Oh, right. So what I like to tell people is that you can think a lot, but you need to find a direction for your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And people who overthink and who become anxious is because it's a lack of direction. I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah.
But train yourself to find a direction.
Mm-hmm.
Channel your thoughts in a certain way. Don't try to limit your thoughts. If you try to limit your thoughts, you're going to have more thoughts.
Yes, which is, I've realized.
Exactly. But don't try to limit your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Just find a direction. It doesn't matter which direction. There are like 360 directions. Just find one.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 or 3. Just find a branch of directions, 30, 60 degrees. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's not about limiting. It's about saying,
you need at least
all of these thoughts, I'm taking them and I'm doing this.
Yeah. It's like funneling in a sense.
Exactly. Funnel your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Have them all. Don't try to stop them. Have them all. But say, how can we apply them?
Okay.
And ask yourself the question, how can you apply them? And trust me, out of the anxiety is going to come probably some of the best creations possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And not all the time, but that's fine. We don't need added pressure to channel our thoughts.
Okay.
Like, who gives a fuck about pressure?
Yeah, but you're always thinking anyways.
Of course. You can't stop thinking.
Yeah.
I think what's worse is people who are verbal thinkers. Because you hear every single fucking...
And you don't want to hear it. Yeah, it's like, okay, keep something for yourself. I don't need to know all
everything possible. I think what's worse for me is that I'm not always a verbal thinker. Sometimes I see it in colors.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes me so long to translate what that means.
Yeah.
Like, this color exactly. This means blah, 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 blah.
Like, I'm feeling chartreuse today, and it's like, what the hell does that mean, Sean? Like...
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. And don't worry, guys. I know probably people are thinking, oh, maybe Sean is on the spectrum. No, I'm not. I've had myself tested.
Trust me, Sean really is just this deep, guys.
I am HPI, as we say in English, in French, sorry, haute potentiel d'intelligence.
Oh,
high potential?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Something. I know what you're talking about, I'm just don't remember what it is.
Me neither.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, who cares?
Exactly. If I bother to translate it, then maybe you'll get it, but if not, go look at yourselves.
One of my big problems in the world is that people love labels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, honestly.
You. Just be you. Just be you.
Mm-hmm.
Stop with the labels. It's one of my big problems with so much. Why? I know labels have a very important purpose. I'm not saying that they don't.
Yeah.
But don't reduce yourself to a label. The label should help explain who you are. But not reduce yourself. Exactly. Yeah. You are not the label.
Yeah, which, I mean, you're saying this, and it just reminds me of somebody I used to know, or I used to be friends with, rather, who...
Now you're just somebody that I used to know.
You're trying to kill me over here.
I used to
know somebody. None of these songs.
I used to know somebody. I used to know somebody. Now you're just somebody that I used to know.
Legal teams don't come for me.
Oh, have you heard his new album? Go check. Way better.
I have.
I mean, this song is classic, but that we'll talk about it after. But Jesus Christ, I listened to that song for 40 times on repeat. I swear.
Really? Okay. Drop me a link on Spotify or something.
Oh no, we're gonna listen to it before we leave.
Okay, bet. Okay.
By the way, this is probably the longest podcast episode. It's been like 2 hours.
Probably. But we're going with it.
So I have an English class. I don't know if anybody actually cares, but I have an English class to give, and I had to send a message to my student. I'm like, I'm gonna be late. No, this is too good to say.
Yeah, this thing you can't just end it here.
No, we can't end it here.
Yeah. So
but we do need to pause it because I need to pee again.
Okay. See, and another commercial break. There you go. And we'll be back after these messages.
Like you're more drunk than me.
I doubt it. I feel like it's just more.
I'm joking, but you're having fun.
I'm having fun.
I can see you're having fun.
I'm having fun, and it's definitely getting back into podcasting or deciding like I'm gonna get into. Well, I mean, I said I was gonna start a podcast, but doing this has definitely been just.
Are you
like,
recording?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Like I said, I'll edit whatever needs to be edited out. So. Whatever.
So for all of the listeners out there, the question before was like I said, I feel like she's really having fun, which is interesting. Of course, she loves doing podcasts, but again, this is why I brought out the glasses. This is why we're having alcohol. And even though she's not drinking a lot, she's drank absolutely nothing compared to me. I've had almost a bottle already. She's had like 2 sips. But again, it's about the experience. Like I said to her, I'm pouring glasses because I want the experience to be authentic. And for me, authenticity is an amazing rarity, rare thing, amazing
Rarity?
rare
You
thing.
can say rarity.
Rarity exists.
Yeah.
I'm really bad with R's. Rarity.
Rarity. You have to say it like an American rarity. Yeah.
Sorry for the listeners.
Apologize to all the Americans because clearly we know we were calling y'all out.
What? What's America? Anyway, no, so yeah, it was pretty interesting, and we were just talking about how she was clearly having fun. I like that, and I'm late, but I think like as this moves along, as this happens, the flow. I always believe in the flow, the idea of the flow, that things should be fluid, and things that aren't fluid probably should exist less. And so what I do personally is, so even at work, like I can have 4 clients. And I literally dance. I'm not even joking. Like, I dance. I moonwalk.
Yeah.
Not like that, but I dance. Like I skate and I do my ballet and I dance while doing things with 4 different clients when I'm by myself. And I think this is why I like dance, because it's all about fluid motion. And lots of people in the business world, they
In what sense?
They reward robotic nature. But I think if you allow people to be fluid, if you allow people to dance, if you allow people to just flow, you get something that no one can give you.
Yeah.
Which is efficiency, but natural efficiency. And capitalism doesn't understand that idea. Natural efficiency is always better than forced efficiency.
Yeah.
Because natural efficiency means that the person is willing to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas forced efficiency, the person is willing to do nothing. They're literally working just to be paid.
Yeah, exactly.
And
i.e. my current job.
Okay, but not mine, by the way.
Must be nice, can't relate.
There are days that I don't necessarily like to work because I didn't start wine because I wanted to make money. I started wine because I wanted to be part of something. I wanted to relate. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be different in the sense that I didn't want to teach English anymore. But I wanted to communicate with people. I wanted to share these experiences, these pleasures, these philosophies. Philosophies? Is that a word? Philosophies. Yeah. Okay.
It's a plural of philosophy, yeah.
Sometimes I don't know anymore, to be fair. For the listeners out there, before I was like absolutely very distinguished in English. And I've been here so long and I speak only French like every day, and sometimes
You feel like you're just...
I feel like I've no English anymore.
Yeah.
But my friend who's from England, he says that when you speak English, you have like a posh accent.
You do.
Do I?
You don't sound like a Trinidadian person. You sound like a Trinidadian person, but you just have a very posh accent.
Oh, yeah.
So I would think that, not necessarily that you're British, but you're something that's like a merger between that.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds very posh. Because, I mean, I think of... Eventually Nikita gonna be on the podcast. I think of like Nikita and how she sounds in every Trinidadian person I've ever met, and I'm like, you don't sound like them.
I don't sound like anyone. That's true.
So yeah, you definitely have a different accent, but obviously
my accent is an amalgam of my experiences, I think.
Really?
I like I don't do this intentionally, but I think first of all I do like it, but also I think automatically how I speak is an amalgam of all of my experiences. I don't know how to change that, I can change it when I speak to my parents. Like I automatically become Trinidadian.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's an amalgam. Like even I think like now I'm speaking English and I'm speaking posh English a bit.
Yeah.
But my mouth placement is very French.
All right. I mean, but it comes back to what you said. I think that you just speak very, like, your mouth tends to be very small. So to me, I would say that's not really very different. I think that's just how you speak. Because this is how you usually speak to me.
No, but justement, how do you say justement?
Not really exactly, but like,
that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Is that I can tell the difference in my mouth placement, Frenchy or Englishy. And here my mouth placement has become more Frenchy. That's because I have more alcohol. L'abus d'alcool est dangereux pour la santé. À consommer avec modération.
Thank you for adding that.
I don't have a choice because I'm professional, so I don't have a choice.
Okay.
What I said was that the abuse of alcohol is dangerous for your health.
Mm-hmm.
Consume with moderation.
Which whenever they have alcohol ads, they have to put that in like the teeny tiny little.
In France, you can't even smile while drinking a glass because it's considered a psychological incitation.
Of like, oh, this is good.
Incitation of this is good. And the idea is to reduce how much people consume. The idea is not to the idea is to reduce drunkards.
I didn't even think of that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
You learn a lot when you work in the industry.
Fair enough. Good point.
Yeah. And
but yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, like I said, you don't sound like to me a Trinidadian person, and but like I'm obviously used to you. I think accents are very interesting, and that's maybe because of just I have an accent that's just different from everybody else, so I've had to be aware of having an accent.
Right.
But I feel like I've been aware of my accent, but then when other people are hyper aware of it and just like what my accent gets me in the world, because on the one hand it's like obviously, so in my family, my dad is Jamaican, speaks with a Jamaican accent, my mom's Guyanese, speaks in a Guyanese accent, and then they've always raised me to not speak with either accent. My parents were very much,
standard English.
Yeah, exactly. Very Caribbean, very...
Let me explain to you guys why standard English is so important for the non-Caribbean speakers. It's because we learn very young that social mobility is based on education. And education is based on the English idea of education. Which is sad, but also progressive in the sense that I remember when I was doing literature in sixth form, I had one teacher in lower sixth who gave me like best grades possible, and then the second teacher in upper sixth when I changed, who gave me the worst grades possible. And I asked, Madam, like, what's going on? Like, why do I have a lower grades than normal? And she said to me, and I quote, and trust me, I can quote it 20 years later because I am traumatized by this.
Wow.
15 years later, to be fair, but I'm traumatized by it. She said, if you would stop writing as though you were doing a master's thesis, you would have higher points.
She did not say that.
She did.
Say that.
She did. And I didn't understand. I thought that I was fucking shit. And then I read the syllabus that was provided.
I feel like I know where this is going.
I read the syllabus, and the syllabus said that students must ground their arguments according to these concepts.
Yes.
X, Y, Z. And Schon was like, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P.
This is copyright free song. Keep singing.
Yeah. And I would analyze works according to things from all over the entire world.
Which your teacher is not equipped to deal with. Listen, Caribbean teachers, and it's not a knock on them, but they are tied to a syllabus. They can't.
Yeah.
They're not equipped.
And for me, that's the problem. You're tied to a syllabus.
Yes.
That's slavery to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's intellectual slavery. Emancipate yourself.
Also, I think Bob is also copyright free. Keep singing.
He is copyright free because he's been dead so long.
Yes.
Sorry, Bob, but
thanks a lot, my guy. You did a lot for us. But
none but ourselves
can free
our minds. Oh God. I will never forget that sentence, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or those two sentences, to be fair.
Yeah, so to come back to English and why it matters so much. So a lot of it is about social mobility. A lot of Caribbean children are taught from very early, well, provided that your parents are, understand like what it means to have that social mobility at least, and wanting to have their children be able to, accomplish that. For a lot of Caribbean children, it is definitely drilled into them by your parents or by your teachers that, hey, you need to speak strictly standard English for your entire life, and you need to only speak that in order to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So for my parents and my upbringing, I don't know if I ever told you, but obviously I speak with an American accent because
Not really.
Really?
It's funny because at the end of your words, for example, when you say told, it's not very American. I can hear the Jamaican at the end of your words.
Well, I'll tell you something that's very interesting that somebody never told me, but I'll tell you after. So I speak with an American accent, or I think it leans towards American.
It leans.
It leans towards American. And let's go with that. But what happened is, I spent ages 2.5, 3 to about 6 in the US.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I ended up with this.
So you have the two phonology, you have the two...
Yes, exactly.
Like we explained earlier, the mouth formation from young.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just how I learned to talk. And then I came back to Jamaica. Like I said, my parents, as Caribbean as they are, they were like, social mobility, obviously they didn't say it in so many words, but they knew what they were doing. They were like, you are only going to speak standard English.
Yeah, of course.
So this is just how I continued talking my entire life, which got me a lot of ridicule growing up in Jamaica. Fantastic. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Listen, whenever people ask, they ask me why I speak like this, I'm like, it's because my parents hate me. So...
No, it's the opposite. It's because your parents love you.
Yeah, it is.
And also, you can't hate something you don't love.
Yeah.
Because the opposite of love is not hate, it's
a difference. Oh my God, I live by that. I do.
Like me with all of the humans in the Louvre who are just like walls and obstacles.
Exactly. But as a result, so this is how, I talk because of that reason. But something that you said was really interesting that she brought up was the fact that I don't have a strictly American accent.
No, you don't.
And depending on who I speak to, if I speak to somebody who's more American, definitely I will sound a lot more American.
So maybe it's because you're more comfortable with me to be like... Okay.
I would say that my accent, I don't sound like a Jamaican, and many Jamaicans have unfortunately brought that
up. You don't sound like a Jamaican, but for me, you sound like a Jamaican who has lived abroad.
Okay, all right. I've never heard that explanation.
I still hear Jamaicanness.
Okay.
Like, for example, okay. Like, literally right there.
No, listen to me. You should have heard I was unfortunately shamed when I said hospital. So, because I don't say hospital. So, like, I would basically say normally like hospital.
Who shamed you for that?
Listen, when I worked at TVJ, like in Jamaica, and on radio and stuff, it was a whole thing. But they're like, Daniel, you say hospital to Jamaican, basically.
To be fair, radio is not the same thing as life.
Yes.
We all know that.
Yeah.
For example, Samson Anton for CCTV3. This is tonight's news. Tonight, anchor, basically. These balloons that I have designed are expressly fit. I can't even speak English, but I'm trying to like...
Well, okay, let me do it. Like, my name is Danielle Brown, and I'm here with TVJ News, speaking with Schon Maharaj to speak about the life of being a caviste.
Thank you so much, Danielle. The life of a caviste is completely different, and speaking like this is absolutely annoying me.
Absolutely.
Because it's so fake. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You're not wrong.
It's crazy.
I have a very weird accent.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, is just a mixture of, all of my experiences.
For our écouteurs, how do you say that? Auditeurs.
Listeners,
sorry. The word weird, W-E-R-I-R-D.
W-E-I-R.
Some Old Norse, it's a Viking word from weird. And weird are the weird sisters with the three deities who presided over destiny.
Really?
So when someone says that you're weird, it's not just because you're different. You're not strange. They're saying that you're mystifyingly strange. Weird is a compliment, to be fair.
So weird in the sense of like, we don't know where your destiny's going.
Exactly.
That's
so your accent is weird because people can't déchiffrer, they can't decode it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's their problem, to be fair. It's not your problem. Don't make it your problem.
Well, that's the thing that I had to learn. I had to learn that it really was other people's problems. But
exactly,
I didn't understand the privilege that I had for my accent until I guess not just coming here, but also the work that I wanted to do. Because one of the things that I recognized was the fact that I don't speak in a Caribbean accent. Nobody will ever look at me and say, Daniel, you need to change your accent.
I mean, I look at you and I'm like, you're Caribbean, but you know.
Yes, well, but from somebody who doesn't know a Caribbean accent, they're not going to be able to tell. They just hear, they're like, oh, it sounds vaguely American. If I had a stronger Caribbean accent, you know, it would be a complete story.
Words, like I said,
of a Caribbean accent.
Give you away.
Thank you.
But I listen to every part. I listen to every particle.
Most people don't.
Yeah, most people are just lame.
Exactly.
Sorry, listeners. I don't mean you.
We don't mean you. You guys are great. You guys are fine.
Great. Oh my god, you're great.
Y'all are so smart.
You're gonna cut that. You're gonna cut that. That's for sure. Jesus Christ.
So we got a little bit of editing to do. But yeah, for the most part, I'm not being told, Daniel, you need to change your accent. I don't speak in a Caribbean accent. Like if I spoke like how my dad speaks, for example. No, I don't think my dad is I mean, he does have a strong
man.
Yeah, exactly. That's how everybody in Jamaica sounds. That's why everybody screams at me. That's why everybody, the second they hear I'm Jamaican, listen, whenever I go on Bumble and the first thing I gotta hear about is Jamaica, I'm like, please kill me now, please. The amount of times I gotta hear about Sean Paul and weed, I'm like, oh my god, please.
Sean Paul. I'm joking. Listeners, I'm joking.
We have to kill him now, guys. He doesn't know who our other icon is.
Do you guys remember the Willy Bounce?
The Willy Bounce guys.
Oh my god, the Willy Bounce.
Oh, but that's like 30 years old. Oh my god! So you didn't know? I was like, that's terrible. I'm like, I can't do it better. I can't do it better.
Let me tell you something. The waltz is more immortal than the Willy Bounce. The Willy Bounce
yes, the Willy Bounce is not. Listen to me. Jamaica has some very complicated dances now, and it's too much.
Oh, I've seen. No, it's not even complicated. It's just dumb as fuck.
It's
I've seen how people dance a dance hall now, and I'm like, why?
You see the one.
Why are you fucking a concrete brick? Why? What are you doing? What is the point?
I mean, to be fair, the second we should have known it was going downhill. The second they came with the Wounded Dog. It was going downhill from there.
It's funny because you said that, but now I think it was Spice. She is she Jamaican? I don't.
Yeah, she is. Spice is Jamaican. Yeah,
Spice is Jamaican. But Spice and Jim Screechy, Jesus Christ.
No, Jim Screechy. I feel like Jim Screechy and what's it called again? Gully Creeper.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
But I love this song. I love this song.
If you play Rampage Up, I'm gonna beat you.
I am gonna play a thing. Hey listeners, I'm playing a thing.
He's playing a thing. We'll edit this out, but it's fine, whatever.
Why are we really editing it?
Nah.
Why is nothing playing?
Yo, Splash. Where am I?
I think the best part about a podcast is that people can listen to reality.
Yeah.
First of all, you need to know something is that the two most underrated senses are sense of smell and sense of hearing.
Like,
And while I don't do podcasts, I think that people need more of that. For example, I crossed the road without looking because I listen to the cars.
Yeah.
How many people do that?
Okay. I mean, well, I for me at least just like got an understanding and more of an appreciation of just like hearing because I worked in radio. And then when you have to just be sitting there listening to audio constantly, you're like, oh my god, you know?
Schon is twerking, guys. Schon is twerking.
Schon is twerking, guys. It's insane. He's actually really good at it. It's crazy.
Feel good, yeah. For those of you who don't know, it's because Spice is cheating on her man.
Oh my god!
That's what the song is about.
Listen, Spice has some very iconic songs. A friend of mine was mentioning, she's like, I love
like 20 years old.
Yeah! But, like...
But it's iconic, for sure.
Someone was telling me about how everybody was so, like, up in arms about, like, WAP, for example. And I'm like, you have never heard a dance song in your life.
WAP. All I said was WAP.
They didn't even say what it means. I'm like, bro, if you heard some like crazy shit from John Tall.
Every man back. Come meet me in front of the yard. Me man not there. My man is not home. My husband is not home.
Exactly.
Come meet me in the front of the yard and make me scream on bad. Y'all don't understand. She literally says she's cheating in the song. It's just that nobody hears it. Like,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You know Murder She
hold me
Wrote?
tight and don't let me go.
You know Murder She Wrote, right?
The original Murder. Oh no, the song.
The original Murder. The song Murder She Wrote. Yeah, that's not the show, but like, yeah.
The show though is like so classic. We should bring that back.
We should bring that back. But I mean, like the song.
Like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Yeah, or like old Doctor Who, actually. We should.
Or like how do you call it? Quantum Leap.
Ooh, okay, we should marathon time. We're doing this, but like for example,
look at the dances though. They're not dancing like dancehall today. They're dancing like correctly. Dancehall today is like I fuck a brick and I don't hit my dick. Right?
No, dancehall now. You saw the one where they're like, you have to do whatever, this, that, take a picture, whatever. Like it's a routine, and I'm like, okay, I can't do it.
But I think that's a TikTok concern.
Yes. It's whatever you can make that's extremely TikTokable, and I think that especially like Ding Dong, for example. TikTokable.
Ding Dong for me means dick.
Ding Dong, the dance hall artist who makes a lot of songs, but like also a lot of dances as a result. So a lot of it is like, you know, showing off a fling, for example, like things like that are meant to be like, oh, how many of these dances can you get people to do?
Which one are you talking about?
Yeah.
After this, finish leave because I have to class and I'm
no problem.
Already late. Because class was at 4:30.
Oh,
it's 4:30.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. But yeah, Murder She Wrote, which is about abortion. And a lot of people don't know that.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But most people don't listen to lyrics.
Yes. Well, that,
lyrics
but
so
also in this, sometimes like, do they not understand lyrics? They just don't listen to it, you know?
Let me show you how people don't listen to lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all of the listeners, are going to be English speakers because we're speaking in English.
Yes.
If
you're trying to learn English and listen to this podcast, I am so sorry. You're not gonna get it here, my friend.
To show you how people don't listen to lyrics.
Copyright, please don't kill me.
No, they won't. She's dead.
Perfect.
Her name is Dolores and she committed suicide.
Oh no. See, now I gotta put a content warning.
Yeah. This is Cranberries Zombie from the 90s. Dolores, who is a lead singer, committed herself to a mental asylum.
Okay.
Because she just couldn't anymore. She just couldn't with the world. And I understand.
Yeah.
Frankly, sometimes I want to do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm so fed up with the world. And I think what I like about this generation is that we are all so fed up with the world that we probably all do the same thing. Yeah,
honestly. But that's both a good thing and a bad thing.
Slowly ticking. Time is slowly ticking. Time is running out. And the violence goes in silence. The violence causes silence because people are too afraid, but also because people are dead. But you see, it's not real. It's not my family. It's not my family because I'm not touched, but aren't you touched because everyone around you is dying anyway? With their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. And this is about how the English, I don't know if you guys know about the war in Ireland, but the English kind of like killed everyone in Ireland. Well, not everyone, but you know. Mm-hmm. Which is how we still have part of Ireland which belongs to United Kingdom.
Yeah.
But then there's part of Ireland.
Like the Republic of Ireland, yeah.
Exactly. And in your head, zombie. And you're a zombie. And the word zombie is because, as she says, in your head, literally because you don't know how to feel. You're just walking around and how do you accept this? How do you understand this? When this is not regular human nature, like we're not built to
have to deal with so many conflicts happening, so many problems with the world being, I think, essentially overstimulated.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, life was simpler.
Look at today. We have the same shit going on today.
Yeah.
I won't mention it because I don't know, like, I don't want to censor your podcast.
Yeah. But I mean, it really is like, for at least this generation, or at least living in this time, a lot of it really is like, we're dealing with a lot more than we would have had to have dealt with 30 years ago.
Because now we know about it.
Yeah.
30 years ago, we wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah, exactly.
We would have listened to radio. 60 years ago, we would have listened to telegrams. Mm-hmm. And radio.
And read newspapers.
I read
But you can put newspaper down.
Yeah, exactly. Now you go on TikTok. I mean, I think I kind of chose that because there's the algorithm, obviously.
Yeah.
And I see things all the time, every single fucking day. And I must admit that I've become a bit neutral in the sense that it's been more than a year that things are happening in a,
Mm-hmm.
And zombie, what's in your head? What's in your head? And this is why people need to listen to lyrics. People like to vibe to music. The music is only half of the language.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it reminds me, you're saying this, and it reminds me of that same joke about, like, Stromae's Papa Ute, where everyone's vibing to it, but it's like, this man is writing about his trauma, about his father being, like,
so
not
sad.
the father. It's a sad fucking song, but everybody be vibing to it.
The lyrics.
It is! If you listen to the lyrics, it's a sad-ass song, but everybody be vibing to it like they don't understand. I'm like, bro, he's talking about his father not growing up with a father. What you mean?
Yeah.
But it reminds me of that. But you're definitely right. It's overwhelming, I think, to, like, live in this time, and this song obviously embodies a lot of that, where it just feels like, what are you really, it's either you have to desensitize yourself to save yourself, or you're taking in become a zombie, or you have to take in so much of it, but you're just overwhelmed and you're like, well, I can't do that. So you get to this point anyway.
So what's in your head? And I do believe that humans, forget about humans, our brains have evolved to a point where we can understand everything.
Mm-hmm.
Humans decide, my brain doesn't want to work that way.
Yeah.
The brain is capable of everything. The brain is the most important evolutionary development that has ever existed. The human brain.
Yeah.
Ever existed. You can ask anyone. It is crazy. We still can't do with technology what the brain can do.
Yeah.
That is fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the human.
Well, I mean, but the thing is that, like, yeah, because we still don't know how the human brain fully works. Because you can only do so much on a dead brain, and you can't be testing on people while they're alive.
Our brains aren't intelligent enough to understand how our brains work. Can you imagine?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that crazy? This is so not the song that should have followed the other one.
Yeah, we kind of ruined the vibe with that
was
one.
Crazy. But another song that people don't understand. This one. Pumped Kids is about children being shot in schools.
Really? Fucking hell, okay.
All the other kids going round and round because they're running away.
Okay.
Pumped up kids.
Oh.
Listen. And it's about school shootings. And it sounds upbeat, right?
Yeah, you want to dance to this?
Yeah. But it's about children being killed in schools.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've seen people on TikTok saying, oh, musicians should stop being political. Since when?
Exactly.
Musicians have always been political.
Exactly. It makes no sense to tell artists, writers, musicians, like, oh, why are you so political now, as if it isn't a thing that people have been jailed for centuries. What are you talking about?
Only the kids running pound that kids. Can you hear it now? Outrun my bullet.
Exactly.
Outrun my bullet. A shot faster than my bullet.
Exactly.
You hear it now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just like, I've never heard this song before. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's like Born in the USA is an anthem against the USA. It's about the Vietnam War.
Ah, okay.
That the US is a fucking cunt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we already knew that.
Because no one listens to the lyrics, it took people 30 years more to understand that the US is a fucking cunt.
Yeah. Which is insane, but yeah. I mean, I've heard that
cunts because, I mean, honestly, apart from the heart muscle, the cunts are the best muscles that exist in humans.
Cunts, please don't take offense.
No, it's actually better. Is that technically, women should love being called cunts.
Mm-hmm.
Men bastardize the term, but a cunt is actually a great term. Mm-hmm. In etymology, a cunt is a strong, persevering thing.
Ah.
Cunt also comes from Proto-Indo-European, kunti. Kunti was the mother of one of the greatest heroes in Indian mythology.
Really?
A cunt is actually a positive thing.
I'm gonna leave all of this in because this is amazing.
I hope that you do.
I honestly should leave.
I want people to learn. I want them to learn.
That's the thing. I'm like, I can't edit any of this out. I'm like, there's too much in here, and I'm like, listen, you just have to sit along for the ride, and that's probably gonna be the intro I give.
You're gonna split our session into like 6 sessions.
Basically, I'm like, listen, it's a ride, it's a journey. You just gotta keep listening.
And you know what? For the listeners out there, sorry, not sorry. But I think that life is not something you edit. Life is something that you choose or you don't choose. You live or you don't live. And your editing is where you decide to not be present. But here with me, the chaos that I am, which is entropy. It's not just chaos. It's things becoming everything, becoming nothing, becoming the best version of themselves. Which is what I seek for everyone else. And maybe I'm pretentious in saying that. But why be anything less and why be anything more? If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
So let's just be us. Let's listen. Let's talk. Let's vibe. And let's just be.
And I can't think of a better place to end today's episode and to wrap up season 1 of Voice Notes from France. Thank you so much, Schon, for the journey that was this episode, and a huge thank you to all of my guests who made this season better than anything I could have ever imagined. You've all taught me something, and I hope that the listeners, whether you're living abroad or love someone who's living abroad, have gotten some value from their experiences too. A special thanks also to Russell Thomas, who set the tone for this entire podcast with the amazing theme song. I'm Danielle Brown. Thank you for listening.